Want to know the 6 tips for dating in your early 20s for guys? Stay tuned because that's what we're going to cover in today's video. What's up, guys? I'm Emily, head coach and co-founder at emlovz.com. And in 2012, I went on a 100-date experiment. The data collected from that experiment, paired with my 10 years of coaching experience, lays the foundation for everything I teach in my coaching program and everything I'm about to share with you today. So let's dive in. First things first, dating in your early 20s as a man is rough. I don't want to sugarcoat it because it's important for you to know the truth. This is going to be the hardest time in your dating life. A lot of women who are in their early 20s actually prefer to date men who are a little bit older, a little more established in their careers, have a little bit more money to spend on fun dates, or can take them to fancy places. And so really that 22, 23-year-old guy is got it really, really rough. But not to worry, because we're going to get through it, my friends. But just know, as you get older, things are going to get easier for you and the women are going to become more receptive. So let's talk about a couple things that you can do right away. First thing to keep in mind is you don't have to ruin your credit score to compete with older men that are also dating the women that you want to date. In fact, something that I teach in detail in my coaching program are my first, second, and third date blueprints. Now, I can't go into everything I teach in my program here, but I can give you a little juicy nugget. What I recommend you do is on a first date, you keep that first date with her short and sweet, and you don't spend over $10. That means planning date activities that are not going to cost you a lot of money or where you won't be motivated to spend more than that. So I wouldn't take her to a bar or a restaurant. I wouldn't do dinner on a first date. I also wouldn't have that first date go over an hour. You really want to keep it short and sweet and leave her wanting more. Now, the second date, and I'm just really giving you just the tip of the iceberg here. If you want to learn more about it, check out my coaching program at emlovz.com. I would love to chat with you more about how I can help. But simplistically, the second date blueprint that I teach my clients is all about creating physical arousal in the body so that you can escalate sexual tension. So that second date actually shouldn't cost you any money at all because it should be very focused on being physically active and not spending money and being all in your head and logical because you're trying to create sexual tension, which happens in the body. By the third date, if she makes it that far and you really, really like her, then you can spend money if you want, but you really don't have to take her to a fancy restaurant. You don't have to compete with these big wig guys that have established their career and are really going forward. You can still be a really competitive candidate for women that you date with a third date dinner somewhere that is compelling to her, but it doesn't have to break the bank, right? So simplistically speaking, following that formula for a first, second, and third date is going to help you to have more success than if you just try to do dinner dates right off the bat on a first date. So you have some options when you're in your early 20s as a man and you're dating. One, you could date women who are younger than you, which is great. It depends on what your goals are. A woman who's in her early 20s may not want to get into a long-term relationship, but it depends on the person. She may be more into gaining experience, meeting lots of people, sowing her oats, going on vacations, doing the things that a woman in her early 20s is likely to do. And so dating younger is an option because it makes you seem more desirable. Like if you're dating a woman who's maybe 20, 21 and you're 23, you have a little more life experience. So she's going to look up to you and that is sexy. But you may also run into the problem that these women are just not looking for anything serious because they're so young and they haven't had the experiences they're really looking for. Option number 2, you can date women who are your age. Now, this might be a little bit more difficult because women who are your age, who are out of college, who aren't meeting people at parties and social events, they may be more inclined to go for that older, late 20-something guy because he's more established, he's got his life together, yada, yada, yada. But dating women your age is totally possible, especially if you frame yourself in a really desirable way, which is something that I teach in my program. Depending on how you're meeting women, whether it's on the apps or in person, you can really set yourself up for success if you know what women are looking for. So that's why in my program, I teach my clients the 6 photo archetypes they want to have on their profile and how to design their profile so that it really harnesses the authentic nature of your story. It really shows off uniquely who you are, but it also harnesses the power of these algorithms to really attract the most compatible partner possible. And that really is how you write your profile, the keywords that you use, and how strategic you are in your profile creation, which is something that I teach every single day in my program. And I've helped tons of guys find the relationship of their dreams, even tons of guys who are in their early 20s. So dating women who are your age might be a little bit more difficult, but if you're a competitive candidate and you know exactly what to do, then it can work just fine. Option 3 is to date older women. So think even women who are over 30. This may not appeal to everybody, but it's something worth trying because dating older women is going to give you a lot more insight into kind of the way women think. You also become more desirable to her when she turns 30. Studies have shown that women in their 20s usually prefer a man who's a little bit older than them, but when the scale hits 30, that starts to reverse direction. So she may be more excited about you being in your early 20s than she was when she was in her early 20s. And a woman who's in her 30s, even early 30s, she's got a lot more experience. So she's going to be more skilled at having meaningful conversations. You might find that you talk about things on a deeper level, you connect on a deeper level. And sexually speaking, she's probably going to be a lot more experienced than a woman in her early 20s. So there's a lot of benefits that come with it. You also are leveraging the competitive kind of dynamic that happens with age. So you're not being left out as much with women that are older because they're excited to be dating you as well. It just gives you a little bit more options. Tip number 2, expand your social circle. So using dating apps is great, but you don't want to just rely on dating apps to meet people. So I recommend really expanding your social circle. Maybe you join a club that allows you to go skiing or to do some sort of activity outside, or you join like a co-ed social sports team. Just start to really meet more people, make more friends, and expand your social circle. And even if you're meeting people who are the same sex as you, they're going to start inviting you to parties. You're going to meet friends of friends. You're naturally going to be in front of more people, and that really helps you to meet more women. Not only that, you can also tell your friends, hey, I'm really looking for the right person. Do you have any single friends? Being really open and vulnerable about that is the fastest way to find the right relationship. That brings me to tip number 3. Join a co-ed social sports team. This is my favorite recommendation if you're in your 20s, and especially if you're in your early 20s. So you can search for co-ed social sports teams in your area. And the cool thing about this is you actually join up with a team for like 6 or 8 weeks. You see them every single week, same time, same place, but then you play another team. So this might be, co-ed volleyball or co-ed slosh ball or something like that. You're going to be playing with the same people on your team, but then you're playing a new team every single week. So not only are you getting to know the women who are on your team, you're also getting to know new people that you meet each week. And after that game, a lot of times the two groups will go to a bar or go to a restaurant afterwards and get to know each other. And the cool thing about that is you not only get to know all of these people, the people on your team and the people on the other team, but you also walk into an establishment with a group of people, which demonstrates social proof and pre-selection to the other people who are in the bar or restaurant that you go to. So this makes it a lot easier for you to meet people. It makes you a lot more social. You're meeting different people all the time. And the opportunity to really meet more women is so easy when you join a co-ed social sports team. Tip number 4, relax and enjoy this age. So this may be the hardest time in your dating life, but you can also relax because it's lower pressure. You have less responsibilities. You have way more opportunities to go out and meet people and spend time with your friends, really getting to know new people. That's the best part about this age. You don't have the responsibilities that come with a senior title, or you're not managing a team probably. You don't have kids probably. So really enjoy it. Take the opportunity to socialize as much as possible, because this will be the easiest time in your life to really connect with people your age or people around your age and to meet a lot of people. So just relax and know that things will get easier as you get older. If you want more help with this, I would love to chat with you about how my group coaching program may be able to help you. You can book a new client session with myself or a member of my team over at emlovz.com/book. We have a lot of guys in their early 20s in the program, as well as men of all ages. But they're having a lot of success because they have the support of a community of people who are all going through what they're going through. So it can be really helpful to have support on your dating journey. But overall, just relax and enjoy the fact that you're young, you have a ton of energy, and you're able to really put yourself out there the most that you'll probably ever be able to do in your entire life. Tip number 5, take an improv class or take some sort of class that meets on a regular basis. This is the best way to meet people because it's going to happen every week for however many weeks the class goes on. And you're going to be forced to talk to people in that class, especially if it's an improv class or something where the expectation is that you'll be connecting and communicating with people in the class. That makes it a lot easier than, say, a yoga class where you have to muster up the courage to talk to somebody. But taking a class where actually part of the activity is that you'll be interacting with the other people in the group makes it so easy to break the ice with strangers because it's expected in the class. Not only that, an improv class gives you so many dating skills that are so helpful. It teaches you not to be in your head, to really be present in the moment and listening and responding, which is such an important dating skill. It teaches you not to try and be perfect, because if you're trying to be perfect, you're getting stuck in analysis paralysis. It teaches you, how to not judge what you're going to say to the other person. All of these skills that can really, really help in your dating life as well. But it makes it so easy to meet amazing women too. My biggest tip for dating in your early 20s as a guy is to mega date. And if you haven't heard about that before, mega dating is my dating philosophy that I've used with hundreds of men to help them find the one and to gain more dating experience. And what it is it's the process of dating multiple women at the same time to diffuse your energy and increase your confidence. It also really helps you to compare and contrast the different women that you meet so that you're able to choose the very perfect partner for you. And when you make a date, you don't necessarily need to tell women what you're doing. Although I found during my dating experiment that I would just tell people what I was doing. They actually become more competitive, whether they know that you're dating other people or not. They can feel your energy. Your energy isn't laser focused on them when you make a date. It gives you kind of this competitive appeal, and women can feel that you're in demand because they can't get your time very easily because you're busy dating all these people and having all of these great experiences. So it actually makes you appear more desirable to the women you're dating because you're naturally creating a system where you are becoming hard to get. Your time and energy is hard to get because you're busy with all of these other dates. It also allows you to really compare and contrast the women so that you don't stick with one that maybe isn't 100% right for you, which I hear about a lot. You don't want to settle for the wrong one. And the only way to know that you're not settling for the wrong one is to date multiple people in a low stakes way. So I'm talking about coffee dates, not dinner dates here, but to really date and have those experiences so you are really crystal clear and know exactly who you're looking for and who you want to attract. And you get to have that experience so the women feel that you are a more competitive candidate and they like you better, basically. Now, if you're dating in your late 20s as a guy, the rules are going to change a little bit from when you were dating in your early 20s. So let's talk about that. So I don't recommend, if you're in your late 20s dating, I don't recommend party atmospheres for first dates. So you don't want to bring her to a kegger. You don't want to bring her to, like a party or something like that on a first date, because you really want to get to know her outside of that type of environment. A second date, you can be more social, but you want to avoid that frat style first date if you're in your late 20s, because by now these women have established their careers a little bit. They're starting to think about marriage and kids, maybe, at least it's in the background. You don't want to take them on a first date to a super party atmosphere. Another really important thing for anybody who is dating, but certainly if you're dating in your 20s, is you want to tell her that it's a date. I've heard so many people say that, they get invited to hang out sometime. Now, that is not an invitation to a date. So if you invite a girl to hang out with you sometime, She will not know if you're asking her to hang out as friends, if you're asking her to hang out to like network for work. She won't know what your intention is because you're being indirect in your intent. So what I want you to do is I want you to call it a date. That signals intent so she knows what the heck is going on and she doesn't end up on a date she had no idea was a date. So when you ask a woman out, I recommend calling it a date. I also recommend giving her what I call a TDL, which stands for time, date, and location of the date. That is the information a woman needs in order to say yes or no. She also needs to know that you're inviting her on an actual date. And I know it's scary to say it because you don't want to get rejected, but it's much better to be rejected than to be friend zoned in limbo, have her not know what the heck your intentions are. So hope that helps. Another recommendation I would give you is to sign up for 5 different dating apps. Why 5? Well, because you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. All of the apps work differently. They each attract a different audience. They perform differently. If you get shadow banned or banned on one of the apps, which can happen for any reason, not because you're doing something wrong, but any reason, then you have other apps to choose from. They all behave differently. Bumble, the women message first, so sometimes you won't be able to message as much. Hinge, you can message without matching. So you want to be on 5 different dating apps to really diversify your outreach to these women, get in front of as many women as possible, and then you want to really dial in your messaging, which is something I teach in depth in my program. You can learn more about that at emlovz.com. Would love to chat with you if that's something that you're interested in. For men in their 20s, I'm going to recommend these 5 following apps. Number 1 is Hinge. Number 2 is Bumble. Number 3 is Facebook dating. Number 4 is Coffee Meets Bagel. Number 5 is Tinder. You can also try The League. Some people love it. Some people hate it. And there's other niche sites you can use, but for the most part, those have been the top performers for my clients who are in their 20s. That wraps up this video. If this was helpful, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment in the comments below, and follow us on social media. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.